can hear you, man. What's
Our,
going on?
what's going on? E.D.I Mean, hip hop legend, joins me here tonight for Mad Max Radio, Live 365, iHeartRadio. Goes by the name of E.D.I Mean, one of the best to ever do it. You know him from the Outlaws, Street Fame, his book, which he worked really hard on for 10 plus years. Especially it took that time to release. We're going to get into all of it, his solo work, his acting work. He's really done it all. He truly is a hip hop legend in this game. E.D.I Mean, welcome to the show. How's everything going?
Appreciate it, Max. Appreciate that introduction, man. Everything is good, brother.
I'm happy to hear that, and my condolences too,
I like that
because
hat, man.
oh yeah, I'm a Knicks fan, but I know you're a Laker fan, so I said I'll put on my Laker cap just for you.
It's all good, man, because I love the Knicks too since a kid. So we're
From
on the
Brooklyn,
same
Coney
page in
Island
that.
originally.
100%.
Of course, so I know you have some Knicks love in there, and let's see what the Lakers. I want to see the Lakers do well. I have a fondness for the Lakers as well. I just don't like the Celtics. That's the only team. No one likes them.
Yeah, man. Come on. We're on the same page with the Celtic hate.
Oh,
Absolutely.
can't stand them. And it just me reading about your life story and just everything. It's a lot. You had a lot of losses in your life, and most recently, my condolences with Young Noble because that hit me hard because I'm such a fan of the Outlaws and all you guys. And when that just came out of nowhere when I saw that last year, and I know that was right after. I think it was right after the election when that happened. So I was going through my own depression after that whole mess went on, and
Mm.
because the country's upside down right now, it's insane. And then that happened, and I was just like, man,
Yeah, this summer, man. Unfortunately, man, the 4th of July. I got the news, and it's something I can't even describe. It's something I'm still dealing with. It's a heavy blow,
yeah,
100%. But rest in peace to my brother,
rest in
Noble.
peace
Yes, indeed.
for sure. One of the best MCs in the game. How did you feel about his track Euthanasia? Because I know that sparked a little controversy online with the whole Nas story. What were your thoughts on that record?
I mean, I spoke about that on my YouTube channel, man, E.D.I Mean TV, and in my segment Talk My Truth, and I spoke about how I felt about it and what we spoke about when he told me about the track, and I I just feel like at this point in the game, that's something that we're not about. You know what I'm saying? But he had his feelings the way he felt, and I respect that.
No, I get it, and it's been a lot because you've had to clear up months ago. I remember seeing this thing with I know Rosenberg said that Tupac couldn't freestyle. Why do you think there's so much criticism? Because to me, Tupac is the greatest rapper of all time. There's no doubt about it. But you always get these things where Tupac isn't lyrical. I don't understand where that hate comes from and why there's so much criticism on him because Tupac is a poet, and we've seen him on like records. If I Die Tonight, he's very lyrical.
Very, very much so. And I just think, when some people have been exalted to the heights that some of us can't imagine, it inspires that low self-esteem that some people have in not being able to believe that a person or somebody other than themselves can be as great as they are. I see a lot of it when with the criticism of LeBron, even the criticism Kobe got. A lot of people show Kobe love, but it's still a lot of people that like to discredit what he brought to the game. ESPN comes out with these lists, these unbelievable lists, and they have him ranked at like number 10 or number some 15. So shit, sometimes the shit I can't even imagine. Like, where were these people when Kobe was running around destroying people and torching the league and what I mean, winning 5 championships, and so it's the same with Tupac. I just think some people can't imagine such greatness in one individual, and because they don't see it in themselves, it's like it's no way somebody can be that great. So I have to find something about them that is not great because so many other people find them so great and love them. They couldn't be that great. And this is, of course, other people's perspective. But when you love greatness and you aspire to be great yourself and you're always pursuing greatness, you can absolutely support and appreciate other greatness when you see it.
Absolutely. And you guys always pushed the pen, always went up against the challenges. And my favorite album, of course, Still I Rise from you guys, that with Letter to the President. And I kind of mentioned that we're opening up the show. I don't know if you'd want to pen a letter to this guy. I don't think you can read it, but did you guys really think about potentially sending an actual letter to the president with this track as well? Is that something that you actually thought of?
I mean, it was metaphorical,
Hmm.
of course. I'm not privy to the knowledge of whether presidents read their fan mail or their hate mail. I'm sure they don't. They don't have a lot of time, so we wasn't wasting time trying to actually write a president a letter. But it was metaphorical, and if you could write a letter to the president, and if he did actually read it, what would you say? And that song represents that.
It's a powerful track. That whole album is very underrated, and it definitely
I
is
agree.
is a top of the discography for me. The Good Die Young, that song just hits a different way because of how many losses you guys have had within the group.
100%. But living the life that we were living, "The Good Die Young" was an appropriate song. It was, you know, timely, and I'm sure we've all experienced that in our life somewhere where we felt like somebody was taken from us far too soon.
Absolutely. Yeah, that record, Black Jesus, and then the reference with smoking Tupac's ashes. And that was a conversation before that was just put on the record. This everything that really transpired behind the scenes with this. And even just starting out with you being born in New York and eventually coming out here in 1992 to really get things going on the West Coast. In the first record, Sucker MCs, that was the one that made you fall in love with hip hop. What was it about that record that was like, this is what I want to do?
It was just so different at that time. If you listen to the track sonically, it's just a kick drum, a snare, a clap, and two MCs just going in. Run and D, those iconic voices. It was just like I said, just so different for its time. Even for what hip hop had started out. Hip hop had started out basically as sort of like an offshoot, an alternative from disco. A lot of the early hip hop tracks were similar to disco. They actually sampled some disco records like "Rapper's Delight" by the Sugar Hill Gang. But when Run DMC dropped, when they dropped what they dropped, Sucker MCs, that was to me hip hop.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And it was so different than any other music genre. It just caught my ear, and then Run just setting it off with the way he set it off, so confident, so braggadocious. I just fell in love with it, and immediately found a career direction right then
Absolutely.
and there.
Oh, I talk to so many people that say that they always, because we know hip hop started before Run DMC, but once Run DMC came on the scene, they kicked in the door to what is the really hip hop that we have known it to be. That was it. Once they came in the game, they knocked down the barriers.
For sure, 100%. The
Yeah.
Kings right there, man.
Oh,
Run and
yeah.
D, forever.
Especially too, because your mother was off in the club scene, so she introduced you to music and hip hop and things like that. So did your mother ever get to come out and see you perform on stage?
Yeah, yeah. She's seen me perform a few times back in the days, for sure. Absolutely.
Fire. Yeah. Used your allowance money to get the New Edition album. How was the performance that you got to see for your birthday in Vegas, a New Edition?
Oh man, it was great, man. It was great. It was great to have my older brother there. It was great to have family and friends and loved ones be able to share this experience with me and see one of my favorite R&B groups of all time since I was a little kid, man. New Edition is, iconic in my book, and they still got it, man. Great show.
Oh, they do. Yeah. I want to
Yeah,
see a new album from them eventually. I think that's a must have. Yeah.
no doubt.
And for your solo work too, because the Hope Dealer Volume 3, what's going to be the follow-up for this? Because I see you've been releasing new material, Blind. I love that. You paying homage to Pac with Can't See Me. I think that's another amazing track off of All Eyes on Me. What's going to be the follow-up for this upcoming solo album that you have
Well,
on
I
the way?
just I don't have a solo album on the way. What
Hmm.
I do have is a soundtrack to my next book, like Street Fame. I put a soundtrack project for the book for that Street Fame, the soundtrack, and coming up for the next book, The Realest Shit I Ever Wrote. Um, I have a soundtrack for that too, and so I'm releasing some new music for that. Just a couple of new songs. Everything else on that project would be some throwbacks from the Hope Dealer series and the OG series that I put out solo.
Fire. It with
Still
the
Standing is out right now. The first Still Standing Part One is out right now.
Still Standing. Make sure people go check that out. And I was going to touch on this book with Street Fame. Why did it take so long for like 10 plus years for you to really put that together?
Man, because initially I wrote that book just to see if I can write a book.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? I initially didn't have any plans to release it. I wanted to go through the whole process of what a writer and a novelist goes through to start a book from an idea, and it was an idea that I got from my uncle, and turn it into a book, and just to see if I can get it done. And when I got it done, I let a couple of people check it out. They liked it, and they said I should put it out. But then I got busy, caught up with life, started doing some other things, and finally got to I revisited the book during the pandemic. You know, the pandemic gave us a lot of free time. And so I was going through my laptop and I brought the book up and I started reading it, and I was like, you know what, this is timely. It was around that time the whole 6ix9ine thing started, and a lot of these rappers were snitching on themselves and telling on themselves and getting caught up in all these legal things. And so I said, this might be timely to put this book out now. And so I decided to release it when I released it a couple of years ago.
Yeah. How do you feel about the current state of hip hop in 2025? Because I know you're a big fan of Larry June. I also wanted to get your take on Kendrick Lamar's release with Reincarnated off of a play from your guy's song Made. And I'm not going to say the word, just Made.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Well, first of all, let me say there's a lot about the current state of hip hop that I do love.
Hmm.
And there's also a lot about it that I just I'm not into. You know what I mean? But I'm not supposed to be into it per se. You know what I mean? There's a couple of, like Larry June is a newer artist. Of course, Kendrick is a few others that I definitely listen to. And but you know, hip hop is an ever growing, organic, constantly evolving music form, and it's not meant to always sound the same forever. And it's not, you have subgenres, you have different forms of hip hop, you have boom bap, you have trap, you have gangster rap, you have emo, you have all these different genres because the genre has expanded and has grown. And so you just gotta find what you're into, you know. And if you're not into it, then that's cool. You fuck with the shit that you're into. You know what I mean? But I'm not one of these guys that just hate hip hop and, you know, bad shit and just feel like all hip hop is trash, because it's not. It's some good stuff out there, some great stuff out there, and then it's some stuff that, you know, probably should stay on some people's computers.
Yeah, I can agree with that. And speaking about stuff on computers, I'm always wondering about what you guys, because you had your deals there with Death Row back in the day, then you had the Outlaw records. Is there things there? Is there any unreleased Outlaws tracks in the vault with all you guys together still, or what we have is what all there is?
Nah, there's some stuff out there that's unreleased. There's some, you know, stuff that you may hear in the future from the Outlaws. You know, the old group, the original group, and you know, me and Noble definitely had some stuff that we was working on and then have worked on that we didn't drop. And so there's a good possibility that you'll hear all of that in the future.
Oof. This is one of my favorite records when I look at for being unreleased is Die Slow. Because I know everyone brings up Hit 'em Up. Everyone knows that that's the legendary diss song, but Die Slow is just that was unreleased, and that record really is that's a tough
I'm
record.
gonna be honest with you, Max. I don't remember that one, man. We've
Oh,
done so much music over the past 30 years that I some songs I don't even remember. So I'm gonna have to go look that one up.
oh,
I
yeah.
don't even remember that one.
Oh man, yeah, that one is basically at the end of the song because you guys are all rapping on it, but he says "Die slow, Biggie, die slow, Puffy," but it starts off the track with Jay-Z, Mobb Deep. He's like Tupac's on there, and then you guys are all
Okay.
rapping on it. That song was
Yeah, man. I don't remember that one. I gotta go back and check that out.
yeah. Oh wow. Yeah, that song is lethal. I actually brought that up with Jeff Pearlman because I had him on my show a few weeks ago. I know you interviewed him for the new book, and I saw your guys' conversation there, and I thought the book was good. My only issue, and I even spoke with Jeff about it, was the allegation case that just came out of nowhere. And I know
Hmm.
that's been going viral, and a lot of Tupac fans have had problems with it. I just looked at it as we never heard of this before. Why did we put this in the book? That was my issue
Hmm.
with it.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, if you saw my interview, you saw we got into that, and we definitely, agreed to disagree on on a lot of stuff in Jeff's book. You know what I mean? But having have said that, I understand the nature of the beast, so to speak. If you're gonna write about a hip hop artist, you got to write about the most iconic of the genre. And Jeff is the type of journalist, writer. He's not gonna, write about the second best or the third best. He's gonna go right to the top, just like he did with his sports books. He always writes about the best. He wrote about the Lakers. He wrote about Bo Jackson and Walter Payton and, the greats. And so I get it. But in this day and age, I think it's important for people to see two people agree to disagree. You know, a lot of what goes on in this country is, especially you brought up politics earlier, is that if you don't agree with what I agree with, then you don't matter. You know what I'm saying? And your opinion doesn't matter. We got to move away from that. Everybody has a right to an opinion, whether you agree with it or not. Everybody has a right to their opinion. And I think Jeff's book is, a lot of opinion mixed in with some facts there, but he has a right to that opinion.
Mhm. Why do you think it's such a polarizing time? Because it didn't really this because I mean maybe because I was young because I we didn't notice this until Trump started running for presidency where it was so divided, everyone's at each other's throats. Why do you think it was now to where because back in the day it was politics is we didn't really talk about it as much. So, we kind of just didn't. Now we look at everything. Are you a Trump supporter? Are you this? Are you that? We overanalyze everything now for right reasons, of course. But why do you think it's so polarizing now to where everyone's at each other's throats? Is it because we have the dynamic with social media? What do you think it is? Why it's so polarized?
100%. I think social media and these devices that we're talking on right now have made everybody feel like their opinion should be expressed publicly. It's okay to sometimes have an opinion and not need to express it publicly, in my opinion. Every opinion that I have, every thought that I have, I don't need to run right to social media to express that opinion. And I think because we have these devices and we have this access to information, everybody feels like an expert on everything. You know what I mean? You have these experts on relationships. You have these experts on sports. You have these experts on hip hop. Everybody's a fucking expert, Max. You know what I mean? And so if you're an expert, you're not going to want to just be an expert. Nobody knows you're an expert. You got to tell everybody, right? And so everybody feels like they got to give their opinion, and it polarizes us because if you express your opinion, then there's somebody that agrees with you. They got to express the fact that they agree with you, and then it's a never-ending cycle of people just going at each other over opinions. And a lot of it is a waste of time and energy, in my
Hmm.
opinion. There
I
you go.
agree.
In my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. It's too much wasted energy. People just going at each other. I think it's so ridiculous because it's almost people are buying into these candidates like they're family members and they're cutting off actual family members for people that they've never even met in their life, which is
Yeah, man.
insanity.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Because you imagine some of these people Thanksgiving dinners. You know what I mean? You got the Trumpsters, and then you got the Democrats, and you got the this and that, and then trying to have a conversation about politics. Man, one thing for me, two things I don't really talk about much is religion and politics because you're not ever going to get, two people to agree on much when it comes to those two topics.
No, that's definitely something for sure. There was something too, because I brought this up in my interview with Jeff Pearlman. He didn't even know about this. And I don't know if you spoke with Pac about this or were familiar about it. There was a rift between him and Michael Jordan because Tupac, this is something I read online. I don't know if it's true. He apparently said, how come Michael Jordan doesn't come down to the inner city and play with the inner city kids, but he'll go to the suburbs and play with the white kids? Is that something? And then Michael Jordan apparently said back to him that he was a common thug or something. Was that true? Did you hear anything
I
about
never,
this?
I never, I never heard about that, man. I never heard about that. I don't even know if that's something that Pac ever really said, unless we have some recorded visual
Hmm.
of Pac saying it, and it's not an AI Tupac and it's not an AI Michael Jordan, then I don't know if that actually happened.
Okay, yeah, I wanted to because when I read that, I mean, I could see Tupac being outspoken about that, but and then I also because Tupac wasn't someone, in my opinion, and just what I've seen, not to contradict himself, because we'd see Tupac wearing Jordans, we've seen him in the music videos and photo shoots. So if he has a problem, I don't think he would be someone who would wear Michael Jordans as someone that was big on black brands because he's the face of Carl Can I. He was always wearing the
Mm.
Carl Can I brand, so it just didn't make sense that he would contradict himself.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I don't know if that actually came out of Tupac's mouth. Now, having have
Yeah.
said that, I wasn't there every time Tupac did an interview or spoke about certain topics that he felt strongly about. So, but for me, I don't ever remember him saying anything negative about Michael Jordan.
No, I'm happy to hear that and get that cleared up for sure. Just reading the data online, it's always kind of intrigued me and wonder if it was true. So I'm glad that that definitely isn't a thing. So when did you first come across Chuck D? Because Chuck D, this was someone that used to wake up to every morning on the radio, and he told you that Dear Mama is the hardest rap record that was ever written. So when was the first time that you encountered Chuck D and you were able to tell
Well,
him?
I've run into Chuck D several times in my life at several different stages of my life. The first time is when Tupac was on tour with Digital Underground, and Chuck D, Flavor Flav, Public Enemy was headlining that tour, and it had such notable acts like Kwame, Queen Latifah, I believe, was on that tour, and a few other really huge names. And we got a chance to go check out the show, and I met Chuck D and Flavor Flav on an elevator when we first got to the town they were performing in, and I was a huge Public Enemy fan, still am to this day. Every time I see Chuck and Flav, it's nothing but respect, and I salute them for the greatness that they brought to the culture and musically. And the last time I seen Chuck D, we were both at an event in Las Vegas, and I got a chance to just be able to chop it up with him, be in his presence, and that's when he said, "Dear Mama" to him is the hardest hip hop record ever recorded.
That's my favorite record ever in hip hop. If someone asks me what's your top hip hop record, that's the one right there. That's the
Wow,
embodiment of hip hop to me, that record.
wow, it's a great tune, man. It's a great tune, and it's heartfelt. It's real. It's raw. It's unfiltered. I can't argue with Chuck, even though I had my personal favorites, and my personal favorites from Tupac personally. I can't argue with an elder like Chuck. If Chuck says it's the hardest hip hop record of all time, then that's what it is. Damn it.
Oh, did you ever get a Public Enemy posse jacket? Did you ever have one of
No,
those? Oh,
no, I didn't, man. All I had was Public Enemy albums. You know what I mean? I never got any merch or anything like that. But like I said, I had a chance to be around both Chuck and Flav together and separately, and just greatness, man. Just a great hip hop group that put out a large body of greatness when they were running around here, and live they even better live. Yeah,
yeah. Takes a nation of millions to hold us back. That Public Enemy #1 song, when that kicks in with the rare, yeah, that's iconic.
yeah, man. About as close to a rock band as you can get.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy? Because just learning about it from people, even when I interview people from all walks of life, you'll have like these people that I interview, white guys that were all into like heavy metal. I've talked to people and they're like, you know what? I even when it came to hip hop, I liked Public Enemy and NWA, and it's so mind-boggling because they were so black power and so much in the politics. It's like, how did you get these white guys that had mullets to like this? So, and you're right, it's because they're the closest to hard rock.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. They give you that energy, that that subculture vibe, anti establishment, both groups, and rock in its in its core is anti-established, it's youth driven, it's high energy. And so both of those groups gave you that. And so I can see why a lot of suburban kids and kids, that might have been into rock traditionally, getting into both of those groups, 100%.
Crazy. And something I really wasn't fond of hearing was that you weren't allowed in at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction of Tupac. That's that, or weren't
Well, actually,
invited.
that's not true.
That's
That's
not
not
true.
true. I was absolutely invited, and
You
I
were
was
invited.
invited by
Okay.
Tretch. I was invited by Tretch and Naughty by Nature. What I didn't get a chance to do was perform, and I've stated many times that that wasn't what I was there for. I
Hmm.
never went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame to hopefully get on stage and perform. That was never, you know, in my brain or in my plans. I just wanted to be there while Tupac got inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which I thought was just phenomenal and monumental. And so I had to be in the building for that. I was not going to miss that under any circumstances. And it just so happened that Tretch found out I was in New York and he was asked to perform. And he was like, yo, I don't feel right getting up there doing Hail Mary without at least one of y'all there. I was the only one in the city. And he was like, yo, come do it. You know, come hop on stage with me and let's do it. And I rehearsed and everything was going according to plan. And then at the last minute, uh, plans were changed, and you know I was asked not to perform, and you know didn't feel any way about not getting a chance to perform. I was a little bit more disappointed because Tretch had asked, you know, to have some of Pac's people on stage. But again, that was never ever something that I wanted to do. I didn't ask Tretch to perform. I didn't ask anybody to perform. I was asked by Tretch, who is a legend, who is a big homie to us. And, you know, if he asks, I was absolutely not going to say no.
Mm. Something that I too, because I was doing my research on you, is that a lot of people don't really bring up the producer side of you, because you were producing tracks for Tupac later on in his career with Tattoo Tears, and Do for Love records, and things like that. So when did the producer in you really start to come about on records?
Well, I actually got a chance to produce Tupac's music thanks to his mother, Afeni Shakur, rest in peace,
Hmm.
who, when he passed, had this large body of music of her sons that she needed to produce and get out. And a lot of this stuff were bodies of work that wasn't completed. They needed to be completed, they needed to be produced, sometimes they needed to be remixed. And she understood that I was astute when it came to his music. You know, I paid attention every time we were in the studio. Anytime Tupac was recording, that became my focus. I didn't care what was going on. It could be women, it could be drinking and a party going on in the fucking studio. I didn't care. I was into the music. And so I helped a lot with Me Against the World when he was incarcerated. And she remembered that and she said, you know, yo, I'm gonna need some help getting these projects together. So myself, along with Castro and Quimmy Quim, who worked on a lot of early outlaw solo music. We went in the studio and did our best to get these projects together. And that's when I started to really get into production.
Mm. Fire. And it's had an impact on his records. And I think something I would love to see happen too is potentially another Tupac album with unreleased material, if there still is some. I'm sure there is. This guy was recording constantly. And plus, with the whole series that's been coming out this year, I know Nas has been doing it with Mass Appeal. We've gotten the new Big L album, the De La Soul album just dropped. So, do you see something maybe potentially happening? Because I mentioned the unreleased Outlaws music, but do you see something happen to where you could potentially produce some unreleased Tupac stuff that's still in the vault?
I can't talk about that right
Can't
now,
talk
man.
about
I
that.
just you just got to stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Oh,
Yeah.
see? We got to stay tuned for that. That's fire. Has there been a particular one that stand out for you from this Mass Appeal series with the De La Soul album, the new
I haven't
releases?
had a chance to hear a lot of it, man, but I did hear the Mob Deep project and rest in peace to Prodigy.
Hmm.
You know, we got a shout out on one of their songs. And I think it's a song where they talk about their era of hip hop. And so that was dope to be acknowledged by Mob Deep, iconic group. You know what I mean? In my opinion, one of the best duos in hip hop. And I heard that album. That's a solid project right there, man. A lot of dope music on that. And what I, you know, Nas has been doing this thing over there with Mass Appeal, and I love the fact that he's giving a lot of these, you know, legacy artists a shot to put out new music. Oh, I did hear the Slick Rick
Slick
album.
Rick. Oh yeah, that was
I
great.
always been a big Slick Rick fan, and I love that album that they dropped over there too.
Oh, that was fire, especially this song with Nas. But to me, I think that's the group. That's got to be a top five hip hop album with the Great Adventures of Slick Rick. I think that's a top five hip hop album.
Oh, for sure, classic album right there. Classic album.
Oh yeah,
I played it so much. Yeah.
Mona Lisa, the Ruler's back. That's yeah. That's you go
Oh
on and
my
on.
goodness. No, really, the moment I feared is
The
one of the
moment I
greatest
feared,
fucking hip hop records ever,
it
in my
is.
opinion. Yeah.
Hey Young World. Yeah, there's
Hey Young World, come on. The whole album is classic. There's really no skips on that album.
no.
It's really no skips on that album. It's really, top five is I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. Yeah.
I want to put it higher, but I have Tupac album above it. I have Illmatic in there. It's tough. It's so tough when you get because you even brought up the list with the sports stuff. The lists are I hate lists because it
I do
comes
too. I do too,
too
man. And
much.
I think, when you come up with these lists, you got to break them down in the eras. I think it's very hard to say, all time. When you put in all time, you just so much gets left out.
Mhm.
So you got to go by eras, whether it's sports, whether it's hip hop. I think you just got to go by eras.
Yeah, I agree. Was there anything that you learned from Tupac? Because I know you learned a lot from the music side, but on the movie side, because you're also doing acting work, which we're going to get into your upcoming work as well. And you were able to meet Janet Jackson on set with Poetic Justice. And I've heard how she had soft hands when you shook her hand. What was something that you learned from Tupac as an actor?
Just his professionalism, man. He was always professional when he got on that set, man. And he I never personally witnessed him flub a line. And I always wonder, like, when did he rehearse? When did he go over his lines? You know what I mean? Because I never like really seen him like reading the script or, rehearsing. And so I just was impressed with his professionalism, man. Very, very professional, you know, um, always on time. And I learned a lot about how to handle yourself on a movie set or any set period.
Mm. I think Above the Rim. I love that role as Birdie. I think that one is
Mm,
that's a gritty role.
yeah, yeah, yeah. 100%.
The Recognize with the he had the razor blade with Bernie Mac. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah. I haven't seen that movie in a long time. I got to go back and check it out one of these days, man. But you know, great actor, man, and his potential was limitless.
absolutely. And your work, because you got some work. I don't know if you can mention it. I looked it up on your IMDb that says it's in the work still upcoming. Is there, can you speak on the work that you have on the way?
One role I can't speak on just yet that I did late this year, but you can definitely right now check me out in a series called On 10, done by director and producer Man Robinson. I'm in 4 episodes of that, and everybody from Clifton Powell to Just Hilarious is in that particular project. And I got some more stuff coming. So absolutely, again, stay tuned.
Oh, yeah, he's got a lot here. He really has a lot on the way. I wanted to bring up DJ KaySlay because this was someone that was so detrimental and meant a lot to hip hop, and I was honored to interview him on my show years ago before he passed.
Nice.
What happened to you guys as far as him bringing you and C's together to squash things? Because he was the one that, for me, learning about you with your journey, that he squashed things.
Yeah, I mean the beef with C's was or the beef, however you want to call it, between Tupac, Biggie, um, Outlaws, Junior Mafia, whatever you want to call it. It was in the process of being deaded anyway because Young Noble and C's had started to, have these conversations. And so the ice was already broken, so to speak. But KaySlay absolutely was instrumental in bringing us together and getting us on a song together. And that song was Bury the Hatchet. And I can't say enough about DJ KaySlay, and I don't feel like enough is said about him. Like for us, KaySlay was a bridge to the East Coast, which is ironic because we were all from the East Coast. But after everything happened and the feud and the beefs and the deaths of both Tupac and Biggie, KaySlay was very instrumental in welcoming us back home, so to speak. And to me, he was the realest DJ in New York City, and really the voice of the culture and the voice of the street. And he didn't care what anybody else thought. You know what I'm saying? Like 99% of the DJs in New York, we were toxic to them. They wouldn't touch us with a 10-foot pole. You know what I mean? And we were essentially blackballed when it came to New York radio, the club scene, the whole kit and caboodle. You know what I'm saying? We were not welcome, but KaySlay always welcomed us. And I remember going to his studio in the projects and recording there, and him just being just a real genuine guy, and his love for hip hop to me was just super inspiring. Like he really loved the culture from graffiti to breakdancing to hip hop to rapping to DJing, and he was just it was just a huge loss when he died. So rest in peace to DJ KaySlay. Again, I can't say enough about the guy and how solid he was. And so when he called and said, "Yo, I think y'all should do a record together. I think y'all and Cease on a record together will impact the culture in a positive way," it was a no-brainer for us. It was something that I would absolutely do because, in my opinion, then, now, and forever, hip hop is, a lifesaver. It has changed so many lives, and there's nothing bigger than hip hop to me. You know what I mean? Hip hop is the biggest influence culturally in the world on this planet, and I would always do something to push that forward and honor it with respect.
And rightfully so. And just with KaySlay, because he was detrimental, and we know that. And he was someone that didn't care because we're all caught up in the follower game now. He would bring an artist up if they had 10 followers, if he was great and he had potential. That's something I respected about him, is that he cared actually about hip hop, to where now a lot of these record labels, they want to sign you if you have a million followers. They don't even care if it's bots. As long as it looks like you're selling, even if you sound terrible, they want you on the label. And DJ KaySlay wasn't having that. You had to have bars. You had to be great at what you do.
Yeah, it's not many more KaySlays left, if any at all. And like I said, a huge loss to hip hop culture when that man passed away, man. Rest in peace, man.
Rest in
Rest in
peace.
power.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Rest in power. And with your work, because this has been just monumental, just with everything that you've been doing, and it, being on the records with Pac, All Eyes on Me, Thug Passion, Trading War Stories, When We Ride. You've been on a lot of those records just with the All Eyes on Me process. And but Me Against the World's your favorite Tupac album.
It is. It
Mm.
is.
Why is that? Because All Eyes on Me, everyone looks at All Eyes on Me as like that's Tupac right there. But Me Against the World, I there is something to where I can agree with you on. But everyone always runs to All Eyes on Me because Dear Mama's on Me Against the World. So that's the one.
Yeah, man. I just think it's a great body of work, man. And for me, it's just my favorite Tupac album. That doesn't make All Eyes on Me any less than it is Machiavelli or any of his albums. I feel like, Tupac didn't have a whack album in his catalog, in my opinion. Some of the posthumous stuff wasn't as good as I would like it to be, but any album that he had a chance to work on personally was always great. I just felt like Me Against the World is my favorite. If I had to pick a favorite Tupac album, it would be Me Against the World.
Me Against the World. Mm.
Yeah,
It's a classic.
yeah.
It definitely is. So many tears. There's a lot on
Hmm.
there. If I Die Tonight,
And I
Death
feel
Around the
like it was the
Corner.
perfect balance. That album showcased a perfect balance of Tupac. You got some East Coast stuff on there, you got some West Coast stuff on there. You have love songs, you got hardcore shit. You got a love song to his mother. You got the last record on there that we rapped on, Outlaw. It's just a great body of work.
Hmm. It definitely is, and just all the work that you've done with you guys, I think it just as a collective. Are we gonna get this documentary of about the Outlaws? Because that was something that you're working on.
Definitely working on some things, man. Definitely working on some things. I just ask everybody to be patient. Certain documentaries take 10, 15, 20 years to complete, and just be patient, man. Just be patient, man.
Mm. How is it with Nate Dogg in the studio, especially with Teardrops and Closed Caskets? Because there's an OG version to this as well, which people can really go look up. There's an original version besides the one that actually released on Still I Rise. So how was it working with Nate Dogg?
Man, working with Nate Dogg was great, man. I mean, Nate Dogg was arguably my favorite member of the Dog Pound of the DPG. You know, I loved his music, man, and I think he was a favorite for Pac as well. Pac would often state that, and that day when we did Teardrops and Closed Caskets, man, it was just a song that we were just, having a lot of fun with. Pac wanted to do something different, and Nate just happened to be in the studio, be in the right place at the right time. You know what I'm saying? And him and Pac got into a corner, and then next thing you know, Nate went in there and did that iconic hook, man. And vocally and even his pen was just amazing, man. Wish we could have got more albums from the great Nate Dogg, man. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. Yeah, that double album doesn't get enough credit, and that's an amazing double album that Nate
Facts.
Dogg released. These days,
Facts.
just another
Oh my
day.
goodness. First we pray, then we ride.
Hmm.
So many classic records that we had been listening to for months before that album eventually got a chance to drop. But yeah, man, the great Nate, the hook master,
Oh
greatest
yeah,
hook singer in hip hop history for sure.
Warren G with Regulate. That's
Oh,
that's one
come
that
on.
always comes to mind.
It's a hip hop standard at this point. You're gonna hear that
Yeah.
record forever.
Classic. What would you say is your when because we look at your discography, what would you say is the one for is your Me Against the World for you and your solo work?
Oh, it would definitely be the Hope Dealer Part One.
But the first Hope Dealer.
The first Hope Dealer to me is probably one of my favorite projects. I have some records on there that I feel like um was just some of my best work. And when I recorded that album, I was going through such a tumultuous time in my life. I had so many different things going on, and my refuge was the studio. Literally, my home was the studio. I was literally living in a studio at that time, and all I had to do was work on music. And so, you hear that in the music. You hear the emotion, the pain, the feelings, the deepness in the music.
Hmm. I
Yeah.
I love too with one of the newer records, La Bella Vita. That one where you're in Chicago. I think that one is because
Yeah,
people in
that's
the
my
comments.
yacht rock album. You know what I'm saying? That's my yacht rock. I call that my yacht rock album. When I listen back to it, and not at the time, that wasn't my intention. But when I listen back to it, I'm like, yo, this is like some yacht rock shit. Some, you sipping champagne on a yacht on a, what I mean, nice sunny day somewhere off the coast in the Caribbean somewhere, man, with your lady, just having a good time, living a good life. Yeah.
You could tell that this was you. You were flexing in that with the wine glass. Yeah, you could tell the skyscraper just going through the city of Chicago. It's yeah, that record. And
Yeah.
people in the comments too, because they were like, yeah, he's one of those ones. And they're like, Tupac, he saw something in you for a reason to get in this group with Outlaws. And you could tell even all these years later, you're just getting better. That's the main thing too. It's that
Thank you.
you
Thank you.
age
I appreciate that.
like fine wine.
I appreciate that, man, and that's one of the things that I wanted to showcase in my new music, especially later on in years of my career in this business. That you can age gracefully in hip hop. You don't have to attempt to keep up with the younger acts and the younger groups and the younger artists. You can be yourself and you can age gracefully because there's a fan base that's aging with you. So you have to be able to speak to them as well. I think a lot of times some of the mistakes that older artists make is try to appeal to a younger audience, and they make the mistake of believing that hip hop is a young man's sport. But I think I feel like that's been disproven. You know what I'm saying? With the success of artists like Nas, Killer Mike, Slick Rick being 60 years old, putting out a hit album, so on and so forth. We are now seeing that hip hop is not necessarily a young man's sport anymore. It might have been at one point in time, but now it has evolved to the point where you can have young hip hop artists and you can have seasoned veterans in the hip hop game, and they can all coexist together. And it doesn't have to be this ageism or this separation in the culture. You know what I'm saying? You got hip hop for my kids and you know what I'm saying, their generation, and then you have hip hop for my generation and older.
And we're getting the taste of it with keeping the surgeons alive with the De La Soul. I would love to see like a Houdini album or something like that in this day and age. Like, let's
Wow.
bring Houdini back. That would be
Man,
great.
Houdini was one of my favorite groups growing up, man. I feel like they get a lot of credit and they and rightly deserved, but I feel like because Run DMC was so popular and they had so much crossover appeal, Houdini kind of got lost in as far as the light and the attention that they should get, man, because they put out some very dope records that stand up. You know what I'm saying? That stand up over the test of time.
Friends. Yeah, that song. And Nas
Friends,
sampled that for
love.
If I Ruled the
Come on, man.
World.
Yeah, Nas sampled that. Tupac sampled that. You know, a lot of
Hmm.
people have sampled Houdini over the years, man. And I forget his name. I think his name was Larry Jackson or something like that. But the producer that was doing a lot of Houdini's music, man, he was incredible, man. He was just lacing them up with some really dope tracks. And Jalil and Ecstasy was dope on the mic, you know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, Houdini don't get enough credit, man. I think they're unsung.
Hmm. You mentioned about burying the hatchet because this actually just struck a chord with me because I was able to interview Cool Keith, and he's someone that told a story. He saw Tupac and Biggie in a club, like supposedly when they were beefing in LA. Is there any truth to this? If you know anything of, is this?
Nah, that didn't happen. I think the only time Tupac and Biggie came in contact was at the Soul Train Awards when, you know, they ran into each other and they had that run in. But other than that, I don't. That didn't happen.
Yeah, because I was like, 'cause I remember when he said that, I was like, is that possible? Was there just something that was really going on with the burying the hatchet? And
Yeah.
yeah, it's unfortunate what happened. I know there's a lot of things I'm not going to get into that's bigger now with documentaries and cases. You already know what's happening. It's just really blowing up, and it's unfortunate just what happened. And but we got hip hop history out of it, and it's definitely it is a shame. But your work, it stands up. It really does. With the your solo releases, everything that you've done and it been able to accomplish the movie work that you have on the way. What's a role that you want to have? What's a role that you want to showcase that you haven't showcased to us yet? Because I feel as though the actor strike happened. There was some momentum there that you've spoken about before, but now I feel as though you're ready, especially with things in development.
Man, you know what? I'm a funny guy, man. I could do a rom-com. I could do a comedy, you know what I mean? A romantic comedy, man. Get my Ryan Gosling on or something like that, man.
Oh,
Give me a shot, man. Anybody watching this, man, give me a shot. I'm gonna nail it.
yeah, well, his top movies, you like Goodfellas. That's a top one for you. Do the Right Thing
Come
and The
on.
Wolf of Wall Street.
Who doesn't like Goodfellas, man? Come on, that's a classic movie. All three of those. Do the Right Thing, one of my favorite movies. The Wolf of Wall Street, absolutely one of my favorite movies. But I'm a movie buff, man, and I love documentaries, and so I have a lot of favorites.
Mm. What's your favorite genre? Is it drama?
My favorite genre, you know what? It would probably be documentaries. I love
Documentaries.
document. I could watch a documentary on a grain of grass. You know what I mean? And be all into it, man. And I think, you know, as I get older, I appreciate documentaries even more. But yeah, I'm just in the movies, man. The only thing I'm not really into is like horror.
Oh, you staked me there. I'm a horror guy.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I like classic horror, like Psycho, a Texas Chainsaw, stuff like that. Even like the Universal monsters, like Bela Lugosi, stuff like that. Halloween
yeah,
classics, not
yeah.
the stuff that you see today on Netflix. That's just a blood fest.
Hey man, so long as we agree on the Celtics, we're good.
Yeah.
We can disagree on other shit. We agree on the Celtics. There we go.
And we agree on hip hop. We sure agree on hip hop and the roots of
Facts.
it. So I wanted to get
Facts.
into this new podcast guy. I touched on your show with Jeff Pearlman, but Mike Epps has been on here. So talk about you really what struck up the idea for you to start your own show because I think your fans and including me, we love to see you go live and just talk to the audience on YouTube and just give us your point of view. So where was the chord that struck up that said, let me start a show, the Outlaw Show?
Well, I mean, me doing interviews, and I was kind of early in the podcast game before the wave. I was before the wave, so to speak. And so I did a show called The Real Talk Show back in like 2014, 15 for a station out here called T Radio V. And I just got into it and I really enjoyed it. And so then after that, I did a radio show on Dash Radio that DJ Ski owned. I did that for a couple of years, and I just really got into, getting into people's journeys. You know what I mean? I'm a fan of people's journeys. That's probably why I like documentaries, and when it comes to books, I prefer autobiographies because I'm always looking for inspiration. And so you can find inspiration in other people's stories. And so that's really what led to my love of really doing interviews. And I started doing the Outlaw Show a couple of years ago with Frenzy Broadcasting. And then I just decided to do it on my own, start my own YouTube channel, E.D.I Mean TV. Started that about a year ago and started with the Talk My Truth segment, just talking to the camera. But I had already had some skin in the game with podcasts and doing my own show. And so recently I decided to bring that back and start doing interviews again as well. And we've been doing very well as far as some of the interviews that we've been able to land, and the quality of the interviews. I take it very seriously, man. And so now we're just trying to get the word out there because the podcast space, as you know, I'm sure, is very crowded. It's very competitive.
Oversaturated. Yeah.
It's oversaturated at this point. It's like hip hop at this point. People got a mic and a camera. They got a podcast.
Or they got a mic and a camera and they're a hip hop artist. It's
Yeah,
insane.
it's just like hip hop right now, bro.
It's unbelievable. It really is.
Yeah,
It's crazy. But I think something too, when we look at everything, just with you losing Pac, I think it's really heartfelt because you guys were practically family. I mean, you share a son with his sister. Your father went to school with his aunt, college with his aunt, and that's how really everything formed. And your father introduced his aunt to his wife.
true story.
Wow.
True story. Going over 50 years now.
That's family. That's how I viewed it when reading your story, is that this is deeper than just music. This
Yeah,
is family.
100%. 100%. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's crazy. I know that things have happened. I know with Keefe D, that stuff, him talking about it for years and things like that in his interviews, and that it's taken so long for them to really claim that they found someone from law enforcement. But we already knew within side because you've said it that we don't look towards the police for help. We're going to try to solve these things on our own and find out on our own. And we've known for years the Orlando Anderson thing, and now it just took all the way up until what was it last year, the year before to went to bring him in, get him arrested. That's crazy.
Yeah, man. And I mean, we got to thank the podcast and people feeling like they need to, be on camera and talk and tell their story. And, if you watch the new documentary that 50 Cent executive produced, The Reckoning, about P. Diddy and everything that went on with him, Keefe D even makes an appearance on that documentary indirectly.
Mhm.
And, you can hear it for yourself. It's all out there.
Yeah. Did you watch the documentary?
Yeah, I did.
I didn't get a chance to watch it yet because I've been prepared for this interview, and I just there's so many documentaries I
Yeah, I
can't
see you
keep
did
up.
your homework, man. You did your homework. I like that.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah, there's so many documentary. It's just and I did see clips of it on social media, and I don't like what I hear for sure. The more I hear about it, the more I just dislike Diddy. I dislike what I hear, and I said that. I said if he really is the one behind this that made all this happen, you can keep him. Yeah, everyone could keep him. That's how I feel because it's that's a menace right there.
Yeah, man. Literally, what's done in the dark always comes to light.
Hmm.
literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially with him making him pay for making Biggie's estate pay for his funeral. What?
Wow.
I read that
Wow.
online. I was like, what?
That was a real eye opener. That was a
What?
real eye opener right there. That was really, I don't know what to say, man. You know what I
Awful.
mean?
Awful.
I don't know what
And
to
I know
say.
you like Biggie's music. Sky's the Limit's your favorite Biggie song.
Facts. Facts. Yep. I loved Biggie's music. You know what I'm saying? First of all, Ready to Die to me is a classic album.
Hmm.
I love that album. We got a chance to hear a lot of that album before it actually came out. I always thought Biggie was one of the greatest lyricists of all times, a great songwriter, um, more than just a rapper. And but Sky's the Limit is probably my favorite Biggie record. Love
Mm.
that song. Yeah,
112.
yeah, yeah.
Big time
Classic,
record.
classic music.
Have you had a chance to meet Stevie Wonder? That's your favorite artist of all time. That's someone you want to work with. Have you ran into Stevie Wonder at all?
Man, you know what? I've been in the same room with Stevie a few times, and one couple of years ago, I was at an after party for a Dave Chappelle concert, and Stevie Wonder, which I heard is a thing. Like he makes these random pop ups at different events, like nobody knows he's coming, and he'll just come up, he'll just come through, which is fucking phenomenal. I love it. But he actually did this night. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if they knew he was coming but I just know at one moment I think he got on the mic and was like, "Everybody shut up," and the music stopped and they put on a break beat, man. And Stevie Wonder started singing to the break beat, man. Like how dope is that? Fucking hip hop is that? I still got some footage of that in my phone, and Stevie Wonder was just up there singing while the DJ was scratching and cutting up a break beat, man. And that was a highlight for me right there. That was one off the bucket list, man. I would love to meet Stevie, shake his hand, and tell him how much his music means to me. But just to have that experience right there was monumental for me.
Mm. That's like your dream collab right there to work with him too.
Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't? Who
Yeah.
wouldn't love to do that?
That's
Legend.
iconic.
I don't even know if legend is good enough for Stevie. We got to find another word for people like Stevie.
Icon.
Icon. I don't even know if that
That
works.
word's even, you got to find something bigger.
We got to ask chat. We got
I
to
don't
ask
know. Should
chat.
I
See,
go there? I mean, you said we don't talk religion. I mean, God. I mean, should we go there?
well, we don't want to do that because we get all the religious nuts to go.
Yeah.
They'll be
He's
in your
up there.
comments
He's
like nobody's a god. No, yeah. So we don't want to do that. But just one of our greats, man, a hero. A hero. I believe that Stevie Wonder. I think that's a great word. He's a hero.
a
You know what I
hero.
mean? And his pen is phenomenal. One of the great writers in music, all times.
As well as yours in hip hop as well. Money and the Power. It's your solo work that I listen to a lot as well. I brought up a couple of the records already, but that one
Thank
is,
you,
yeah.
thank you.
Your solo record. Like I said, when I heard Blind, I said, yeah, it's only going, it keeps getting better, like fine wine.
Yeah, and Blind is off a collaboration project. One of our Outlaw affiliates, H Rider. We got a project that we're dropping next year called This Thing of Ours. And so that album is done in the Blind record featuring Yuck Mouth is a song off of that project. So that's not necessarily a solo song of mine, but definitely that's some of the later music that I've been putting out and I've been a part of, and I can't wait for y'all to hear that project. Me and H, This Thing of Ours, as well as the realest shit I ever wrote, the soundtrack to my next book that I'll be
Mm,
dropping top of the year as well.
fire. Are you going to be going on a book tour at all? You going around doing signings and things like
Yeah, that's
that?
the plan, man. That's the plan. I hooked up for the book, the realest shit I ever wrote. I hooked up with this very dope artist named Sketch from Australia, and he's doing all the graphics in the book. He did all the graphics for the book, and like I said, an Australian guy. And we're gonna go out there and we're gonna, hit up some bookstores. I'm gonna do a book signing tour in Australia 2026, you know what I mean, to promote the book. And I really I'm excited about this book. It's a collection of some of my most popular verses. I break the verses down. I break down what inspired them. I give you some backstory on when we recorded these songs, and then I put them in a poetry form so you can actually read what I said, and then you can go back and listen to the record and be like, wow, that's what inspired Edie to write that verse. Verses like my Just Like Daddy verse, or my Me Against the World verse, and so on and so forth. So I'm really excited about this book. And then of course I have some other writings in there, like some blogs that I wrote in the early 2010, from like 2010, 11 to 2015. I was writing like a weekly blog. So I took some of my most favorite blogs, put that in the book as well. And yeah, I'm excited for this, man. You can check it out, man. Like I said, Sketch is a very dope artist. It's almost like a comic book, but I would call it a graphic novel.
Wow. Yeah, this is going to be monumental. I'm looking forward to this. Are you going to have, because you have an album with it, so are you going to be doing like an actual music tour with the book? Because I know some people, they'll do a performance and they'll do a book signing right after. So is that something that you're looking to do?
I don't know. That's possible.
Mhm.
It's definitely very possible. Right now, I do know we're gonna do some book signings. Like I said in Australia, and of course stateside, I'll definitely be doing some book signings and things of that nature. And I have the book on my website, and you can get an autographed copy of the book when I put it on my website as well. And it'll be available in Barnes and Noble and Amazon, and it'll be available ebook. I'm gonna do an audio version of the book as well. So, but as far as actual performance and shows, I don't know. We'll see.
Mhm. I will say this because you just brought up Just Like Daddy with the Machiavelli album. I think my favorite song off of that album is White Man's World. I even talked with Jeff Pearlman about that. That record that's powerful.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Mr. Shakur, man, he was a cold piece of work, man.
Were
Mr.
you there for the
Shakur was
recording of that
cold.
record?
Yeah, I was there for the recording of that whole album
Wow.
from start to finish. Absolutely.
And he had the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan on the ending of that too, with speaking on it. Yeah, that one. They Don't Give a F About Us. That was another record. That's just those were the two. After the election happened, those were the two records that I basically listened to over and over and over again.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Great songs, man. Great songs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we need more of it. I think because I touched on it earlier, but what was your reaction when you heard the Reincarnation song by Kendrick? He flipped your song, Made.
Yeah, I thought it was dope. Man, I appreciate, any younger artist that, reach back to our music and is inspired by it and wants to take it and do their own thing to it, man. And Kendrick, come on, man. One of the great artists of this generation. And so for him to be doing some of our old shit over, or at least just rapping on a beat, man, rest in peace to Johnny J, who helped produce that particular track. That's greatness right there, man.
It is.
Gotta love that.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
That music video for that record too, where you guys, it's like a 360 and it's just going around the room and then your face just goes in and out the camera. I love that video.
Yeah, yeah, man. That video, and to be honest with you, we never really got a chance to finish that video in its entirety, but it's still great to this day.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of people seem to like that video, man. So that's what's up.
Even the Hit 'em Up video, everyone knows that. That video is iconic. This he's a walking piece of history. E.D.I Mean is he's history right
Hey,
here. uh well, E.D.I Mean, is there anything else you want to let your fans know? Anything else that we didn't cover here tonight that you want to make sure everyone taps in for?
yeah, man, just keep checking me out. E.D.I Mean TV, YouTube. Got some new comment coming. Got some dope comment coming for the ladies. Be on the lookout for that. I'm gonna be producing other content that I'm not necessarily in front of the camera. I'll be behind the camera on the production side on some of this other content that I'm gonna bring to E.D.I Mean TV. But be on the lookout for new interviews. I got some dope interviews coming up. Easy E. Easy East, a
Okay.
great interview I did with Lil Easy E. Um, uh, be on the lookout for that. All brand new season to kick off 2026 with more interviews, more Talk My Truth. Like I said, the book, the soundtrack on the way, the collab project with Ace Rider, this thing of ours, and 2026, man, it's gonna be a big year. Like I said, stay tuned.
It's amazing that you bring up Lil Eazy-E because when I look at his father, Eazy-E, he was the domino for pretty much everything because he put up the money for them to record, which sparked everything. Because then you get Aftermath, Dr. Dre. It just he was the domino that led to everything. 50 Cent getting to there, Eminem, everything. It's insane.
It's absolutely insane. Eric Wright, wow. We talk about somebody that had vision, had foresight, one of the first hip hop impresarios, one of the first guys to start his own label and had great success multiple times from NWA to Bone Thugs and Harmony. Can't say enough about the guy, man. Iconic, legendary, a hero.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Rest in
Yeah.
peace, Easy E.
Rest in peace for sure. And you're also a hero as well, E.D. Mean. I want to thank you for coming on the show. Thank you so much. Thank you to your manager as well, D York. He's a great guy. I was talking with him on the phone when we set this
No
up. He's a
doubt.
great guy.
No
Yeah.
doubt. Yep. Shout out to my guy, Echo, man, for hooking us up. Appreciate your time, Max.
Of
Great
course.
interview.
Yeah, oh, I appreciate that, man. You're always welcome on the show anytime, especially when you drop this book. I would love to read it and get you back on. I think I can really dive into it. Just love
Absolutely.
to
After
get you
you've
back.
checked it out and after you listened to the soundtrack, we could definitely do a follow up and you can let me know how you feel about it.
Absolutely, I'm down. Thank you for all that you do, E.D.I Mean, and the history that you've given to us with hip hop. I look forward to everything you have on the way, especially with the movie work too. We got to see you on the big screens.
Thank you. Thank you, man.
Of
Appreciate that.
course. And let them know they can follow you on Instagram, all your platforms too.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram, Edie Don O for L, E.D.I Mean TV, O for L Digital. If you got O for L attached to it, it's probably me.
There you go. There you have it. Outlaws for life.
Facts.
You already know. E.D.I Mean.
R.I.P. Young Noble.
Rest in peace,
Salute.
young noble. Rest in peace. Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
E.D.I Mean, take care. Enjoy the rest of your night. All right.
Thanks, brother. Peace.
Take care. Peace out.